Hello to everybody. Welcome back to another video about accountants, because we need to dedicate some videos also to their activities, and I want to let you know what do you risk if you don't have a good accountant in your company or for your company. As we all know, there are a lot of entrepreneurs, let's say like this, of small businesses that consider that an accountant is more like an expense than an asset for them. But for sure, I can tell you that they are wrong. If you want to handle by yourself your accountancy, it's a little bit hard, because here in Romania, especially, the fiscal system is changing a lot and frequently, and it's quite hard to keep up with all these changes. So, in this case, lacking an accountant may lead to fines, penalties, even blocking your account or even blocking your company's activity if you don't know how to do it, and if you don't know, or if you will do it but incorrectly. So stay with us and let's see what are the mistakes that you can do without having a good accountant. Sometimes when you start a business, or when you have a lot of expenses, when you have a lot of things to do initially in a business, or after that, when you already work with some numbers, sometimes, as I said, finding an accountant or a good accountant is the last in the priority list. You don't give too much attention to this, and this might be wrong. Why is wrong? Because working or having a business without having an accountant near you might lead to violating a lot of rules or fiscality changes and so on. So let's see a little bit what do you need to know in the beginning. So, the first mistake that you can do is not declaring the fiscal obligations on time. Usually the fiscal date when you have to declare is 25th of each month for the previous month, but there are some declarations that have a different term of declaring, like the 394, which is the end of the month, or some reporting to national authorities, which the deadline is 15 of the month, and so on. Basically, if you don't declare in time, you risk penalties and having extra debts to what you already do to our government each day, because the penalty is applicable each day to the debt that you have. Secondly, incorrect tax filing, or not declaring at all some of the declaration, not submitting at all some of the declarations. This may lead to fines and penalties of thousands of RON. So you must be really attentive to the terms and for putting in correspondence some declarations. For VAT, for example, there are 3 declarations that are correlated between them: 390, 300, and 394. So it's really important to know how to put in correspondence all the numbers between these 3 declarations. And the third risk that you may have is the risk of not having the records of your own transactions in accounting. Basically, here in Romania, you are obliged to have a fiscal record of all your transactions, so they can be easily tracked in your accounting. So these were the risks that you may face if you don't want to work with an accountant. But let's see, if you have one and that accountant is not serious or is not well prepared, what can happen? In this case, I can only point some of the problems that may arise if the accountant that you have is not well prepared. So let's see 3 of them at least. 1. Erroneous calculations of taxes and contributions. What do you risk by this? Of course, you risk additional obligations to the tax authority, fines and penalties. Secondly, omission of the tax deductions. For example, if the accountant that you have does not take into consideration any of the expense that you have, or they do not recognize them as deductible, for sure in that case you'll have to pay more than it's necessary. And thirdly, mistakes in the balance sheets and in the tax declarations. Basically, late reporting or incorrect reporting may lead to fiscal risk, and from that point on, you may be in the enough eyes as a person or a company that does not fulfill correctly its declarations. So in that case, you may face even controls from fiscal authorities. Of course, having a bad account, not bad because bad is not a good comparison. Having an unprepared accountant also may lead to problems with your cash flow. Basically, a good accountant is that person that handles magnificently your accounting and that can record all your transactions quite well. But an accountant that you can rely on is that accountant to which you can have a meeting, you can have a discussion, to which you can analyze all the details of your business, and maybe if they can give you some advices as well in order to have a good cash flow and to help you in taking all the decisions, especially the business decision, what are the most important for you. And now, maybe you are wondering, why do I need an accountant? Why do I need his advice? I can tell you like this, because without the vision of a good accountant, you may end having problems like not having money for salaries, paying suppliers and everything else in the company. You cannot make the correct decision about business growth in the future. Or you can go into debt without even realizing. Or if you are already in debt, a good accountant may find solutions in order to stop fiscal authorities here in Romania to block your business accounts, because this is also really important. And now let's see, how do you choose a good accountant, because this is also important, and to see what are the steps or what you should verify before. What I would recommend to you is to verify all the experience and qualifications of that accountant. Why not? Ask them their diplomas, ask their everything that they have related to the organism in which they are, so they can, in that case, you can know that they are qualified. Also, you can check the seriousness and the proactivity. For example, if you ask an accounting offer, you can see how quickly they move, or how quickly they answer to your email, if they are willing to answer to all your questions that you may have before signing a contract. Because a good accountant not only fill forms, he must be willing to explain to you what is in there as well. Also, the recommendations are really important. You may check on Google, you may check, other clients, or if you already received a recommendation from someone else, then it's even better. But recommendations are quite necessary to be asked before starting collaborating with somebody. Also, availability. It's really important to see how quickly they answer to your request, because sometimes you may need something quickly in a few hours, in the same day, or maximum the day after that. So it's really important to check this as well. And last but not least, the prices of the services. For sure, this kind of accountant that is answering to you quickly, that is proactive, that is willing to explain to you, may cost more than the ordinary accountants. as they exceed the limit of their duties and as they are part somehow of your business. But remember, the fee that you pay may not be as high as the risk that you may take if you don't have such a good professional near you. Now you may ask yourself, is a good accountant an expense or an investment? From my point of view, a good accountant is an investment for you because he will be near you whenever you need it and wherever is necessary in front of fiscal authorities, especially here in Romania, when sometimes you may face some controls. The wrong choice or the lack of an accountant may lead to important and serious problems with all the authorities, and not only for that, with all your business. Basically, you put in risk all the business that you have if you don't work with an accountant. So, choose carefully and collaborate only with those professionals that will ensure your fiscal peace of mind, if I can say like this. Thank you very much for watching. Anytime that you have questions, you may leave it here in the comments area, or you may write to us on office.mbv-tax.ro. So let's stay together and let's analyze the accountants that you may have. And anytime you have suggestions, I'm open to hear them. Thank you very much.